we're going on to the most delicious segment of movie news, and that is box office pie. Unfortunately, I don't have a real pie, and even more sadly, we are not together to enjoy the pie that we had on our one segment. Yeah, Nayan nodding his head is disappointed.
This is a segment I hate so much because of how hungry it makes me, but I love it so much in terms of how entertaining it is. So, yeah, the first time James did it, I craved a pie. The second time he did it, he brought a pie. Satisfying.
Exactly. Yes. So to anyone who is watching or listening to this, if you haven't heard one of these segments before, it's very simple. You guys know what a pie chart is, right? It's a whole circle, and it covers up to 100%. So what percentage is it's just a slice of a pie? So if it's 3%, it's a little tiny piece of the pie. If it's 15%, it's a pretty significant chunk of pie that you get. And basically for this one, it is a box office pie. So box office pie is simply whoever has the biggest chunk of pie, that is the percentage that I believe is going to win the box office crown for 2025. And the fact that I focus on 2025, one, it would be cheating if I did 2024. It's too late for that. Dune is actually really killing at the box office, so I can't do that. So 2025 is where we look now for box office pie, and how good, because 2025 looks great. A little spoiler for Nayan here. If the Batman Part 2 was still in 2025, it wouldn't win the pie. It's just not that good for it. So we're going to move to what is actually going to win the pie. Me and Nayan, I've shown Nayan the pie and the kind of chart that we have, but we'll make this far more interesting when I actually edit it into the video. So we're going to go with our 0%ers, the people that get no percentage of a pie at all. These are the ones that, in my opinion, have 0% of winning the box office crown. The first one is Tron Ares, whatever you want to call it. I'm actually quite excited for this. I think it'll be interesting, but I just don't think there is zero chance that it is going to get it. Blade, it's had about 30 directors, and Mahershala Ali is still on for playing. Kudos to that guy. I don't know how he takes all this shit, but yeah, I just don't think that it has any chance of getting it. Move on to another MCU one, the Thunderbolts. And it just decided to choose the most uninteresting MCU characters to put together into a squad. It is Suicide Squad Part 2, except I might be less excited for it. So 0% to win the box office. Captain America Brave New World changed its name to the most boring title of all time, Brave New World. It was Serpent Society before, wasn't it? Or
yeah.
And
apparently the Serpent Society has been cut entirely from this film as well.
Well, there you go. There's more weight to this statement now that it has 0% chance to win the box office crown. I actually don't think it's going to do very good at all. I think the audience will be a little bit shocked or taken aback by Anthony Mackie leading this, and that's nothing against that. I thought what they did in Falcon and Winter Soldier were very good, but I don't think the general overall movie-going demographic are going to really buy into it as much as us diehard fans. All right, we move on to the 1%ers now. Now, the 1%ers have a 1% chance to win the box office crown. And, we're getting to the point where there might not be ones that you agree with, but I'm going to try and explain why, and I hope you guys are open-minded about this one. So, Moana live action, 1%. Now, The Rock is a draw when he's in animated movies. He's more of a draw when he's live action. We saw what Jumanji did. That movie nearly got $1 billion. So Moana live action, perhaps I underestimate the overall movie-going audience. Perhaps they will be open to a Moana live action, what was it, 9, 8, 7 years after the OG animated
2016.
one? 2016. So 8 years. So 8 years. Maybe they're more open than that, and they're like, oh, yo, we want to see The Rock is that. The fact that The Rock's in it gives me that 1%. And anything that The Rock is in, except for an A24 movie that he is going to be in, I will give 1% to. Any blockbuster that he's in. And it's only because of The Rock. I think perhaps it might have a chance. A sliver. The next one I got is Michael. And this is based on Michael Jackson and the nephew to real life Michael Jackson plays Michael Jackson. I think that is a really interesting part of the film that I think will get a ton of coverage. The fact that it's actually his nephew playing him in the movie, I think that'll make people want to see it a whole lot more. The fact is, the reason why I have it as 1%. Sure, we saw Freddie Mercury, Bohemian Rhapsody get 900 and something million. We also saw Elvis get in the, I think, 200s or 300s. And I mean, sorry to Queen, but Elvis Presley has a much larger history than the Queen. And we still saw him struggle at the box office. So it completely depends on the casual audience for this one, and if Michael can tailor to them as well. But I have started to hear a little bit of some questionable things about this movie already. So I think Michael has a chance because Michael Jackson, you just can't go against his legacy. So yeah, he has a chance as well. How to Train Your Dragon. That is not How to Train Your Dragon 4. That is the live action How to Train Your Dragon. And the only reason why I put it in here is if they can really change it up from the live action version and they make it almost quite similar to Game of Thrones. People love dragons, clearly. We saw what Game of Thrones did and the people that brought into it. If it can capture a tone similar to that and get us invested in characters in a very different way than the animated thing, then I actually think there might be some untapped potential here. We'll have to see, though. All right, we're moving to some heavyweights now, and that is the 2%ers. So the 2%ers, I got Mission Impossible 8. No, it's not Dead Reckoning Part 2 anymore, but it is Mission Impossible 8. It is apparently the final Mission Impossible movie, and thank God, because Tom Cruise is 60 plus now, so that is no longer a viable movie franchise for him. So yeah, Mission Impossible 8, I think it deserves 2%, and that is only because it is the last one. If they decide that there's a 9th one now, then this goes down to 0%. I'll do this segment later on, just to adjust where everyone is at. But yeah, 2%, only because it's the last one. But Dead Reckoning Part 1, Dead Reckoning at all, just the box office there did not give me faith that it is going to win the crown for next year. Next one we got is Snow White, and this would be a lot higher if Rachel Zegler wasn't destroying the legacy of Snow White in front of our eyes. The reputation for this movie is absolutely horrific, but hey, it is an online voice that is saying how bad Snow White is and how much they don't want to see it. That is not representative of the general movie-going audience. Snow White is an absolute legend to young girls, old girls, all generations at this point in time. Snow White is one of the most iconic pop culture icons of all time, and Snow White deserves a little bit of consideration. If it's great, it has potential to be, a really big player at the box office. So we'll have to see with that one. All right, at 3%, I got Fantastic Four. I know Nayan's not gonna like this one. I know he probably won't agree with it, but Fantastic Four, the casual movie-going audience doesn't know Fantastic Four. I'm sorry to say. We've bought into this idea that Fantastic Four is some massive pop culture icon. I'm sorry, but instead of those shit movies from 2000 and what, no one's really heard of them. They're not big. It's only because we've been this whole casting room this whole time. So I'm sorry, the casual audience won't buy into it. I give it 3%. I think if I had to put my mark on it now, I would say 500 million is where it's going to be around. It's not going to be nearly at 900 million. People seem to think that they're a massive franchise, and I'm sorry, they're just not, but they have the potential to be. That's what I'll say. The cast didn't give me any hope. This movie can go big. I just don't think it will. The next one I got, maybe a little bit more questionable to some of you guys, but Fast X Part 2. I mean,
Fast X Part 2? Fast Team Part 2?
Is it Fast 12? I don't know. I mean, I don't know how you like
XI.
Fast X Part 2. Yeah, Fast X II. Yeah, 4% for Fast X Part 2. I mean, it's hard to justify it. I'm trying to articulate into words for you guys now. It's hard to justify why it's going to be Part 2. But Furious 7, that is the top 50. It's in the top 15 highest grossing films of all time. if they can capitalize on the nostalgia, if they can capitalize on the fan base that has spanned around 20 to 25 years now, and if they actually focus on it being the final, the finale, it ends everything. If it can capture on that emotional weight, man, I actually think that it can do something big. I think $1 billion is absolutely in store for it. You know, Fast X didn't do well, but everything else has done great since then, though. Like the Furious 7, I'm trying to think of all the bloody names that it has. Fate the Furious, Fast
F9.
9, Furious. Oh, God, stupid as.
Sorry, F9, the Fast Saga.
F9. Look, there's a very high chance that the casual audience is done with this franchise and it's overstayed their welcome. In fact, I'm leaning to it, hence why it only has 4%. But don't underestimate if they lock into, you know, those feels for the final one. We saw what it did with Furious 7. Granted, different circumstances, of course, but I think it has a chance just because of the just how well known that franchise is. Not number 5, but the one that has 5%, Superman Legacy. And now initially I had this one a little bit lower because it started the DCU. We saw it, Man of Steel only got 600 and something million. And I still believe that Superman Legacy is going to be around that 500 to 700 mark. Big range, I'd say, is 600 plus is hopefully going to be where it's at. I think it's going to be around that area. So 5% chance that it wins the box office crown because of what James Gunn is and what he can do. He is really good at making the casual audience buy into movies really well. We saw it with Guardians 1. We saw it with Guardians 3. You know, not great opening weekends, but the tail end of those led on for ages. And it led on to really impressive box office results, especially for the first one. So if Superman Legacy can do something similar, by all means, it can take the box office crown. Only 5%. But hey, we're talking about one of the most popular characters of all time in any kind of literature ever. So you can't just let that go unnoticed. Unlike Fantastic Four, Superman is actually popular. Just so you know, Nan. All right. Okay, now we're getting to the final four, the big hitters, and we have got Zootopia at 11%. Zootopia 2, I should actually rephrase that too. Zootopia 1 made $1 billion. Zootopia 2 can as well. I think people want another one of this movie, and the fact that it's taken so goddamn long for Zootopia 2 is beyond me. It made $1 billion. I think it won Best Animated Feature. Everybody loved it, and yet we're getting, you know, dumb animated sequels. But Zootopia 2 is coming, and the fact that the first one made $1 billion, I think, you know, we have real potential for the next one to go really high as well. The fact that it debuts on Thanksgiving weekend, which is where Frozen sits, it just shows you that there is a huge untapped potential for a breakout here, and Zootopia 2 can absolutely be that. Next one we got is Jurassic World 4. Expect this to move to the box office pie for 2026, because I just don't see it making that release date. But Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, that entire franchise, you just can't bet against them at the box office, even if they're garbage, if they're shit.
$1 billion Dominion.
Yeah, I mean, all the Jurassic World movies made $1 billion. So why shouldn't Jurassic World 4? It's going to have a new reinvention. People are going to be all excited again, far more than Dominion. I mean, like, you can't bet against them. So I think, I'm not going to say $1 billion is guaranteed, but 15% chance that it will take the box office crown. That may be a little bit generous, but it's perfectly capable of it. Jurassic World 4 franchise, or the Jurassic franchise, whatever, they make bank at the box office. I think they can actually be a contender. And here's one that may stir some people up, and that's Minecraft at 20%. Now this, for me, or for this film in general, I honestly think that there's no in between for this. This movie is either going to make $1.5 billion or it's going to make $150 million worldwide. I don't see a thing where it fits in the middle. Like, it's either going to be completely dog shit, and the fact that they chose to make it live action is going to completely backfire in their ass. Even if it's shot in the beautiful New Zealand, I think it's still going to backfire on them in a critical sense. But the fact that Minecraft is the most popular video game of all time based on sales at this point in time, you can't underestimate that. The generations from the 5-year-olds to, at this point, the 35-year-olds who have played this game for years, the amount of hours that are put into this game might just be 100 billion at this point. It's just insane of how much popularity this gaming franchise has. We saw Super Mario do extremely big numbers. It didn't win the box office for last year, but it came damn near close. Minecraft can absolutely contend for the box office crown for 2025, and that's why I give it 20%. And you guys know the one that I give the highest percentage to, Avatar 3, has a 35% for the box office crown in 2025. And I don't think I even need to try and explain that to you guys. I don't need to articulate it. You guys should just know that I am right about this, because who was the first person that said Avatar 2 would make $2 billion? Me. I made an article at the start of 2021. What would be the first movie to $1 billion? Hey, I got that all right. I said, depending on if the rumors are true, Spider-Man No Way Home. Boom, did that. But the first guarantee, Jurassic World. Hey, look, there you go. And the only one I got wrong from that is Top Gun Maverick, because no one saw Top Gun Maverick coming and the box office success it had. But then I followed up in that article. First movie to $2 billion. Avatar 2. And I said it was guaranteed. It's going to happen. And then look what happened. It made $2 billion. So I think it is going to make... it is going to win the box office crown. I don't think there is much debate about that. And you guys should just trust what I say about the Avatar franchise at this point. I don't know if it will make it $2 billion. I'm not there yet, but it will be 1.8 billion above. So, Nayan, your reaction to my box office pie for 2025, any that you heavy disagree with, any that should be a little bit higher?
I don't really disagree with any. Really? I think it's pretty...
Even Fantastic Four?
I don't know why you think I think Fantastic Four is going to be so big for. I don't know if this is like a meme that you're trying to start or something. It's completely bullshit. I've never been like...
You're all for Fantastic Four. Until casting was announced. Name was big advocate for Fantastic Four.
What?
Okay, if it got the best cast,
then could it have been? I don't know. Maybe not. But the other Fantastic Fours we've gotten so far is just so shit. If I was the X-Men, then that'll be a different story. I'll probably have a bigger gripe if you chucked it on that 1%.
Oh, it'd have 4% chance.
Better than 1. I think Superman could be a little bit higher. I think it's just in that unknown territory without seeing much stuff right now about it. We haven't even seen Corin Sweat in the actual suit yet. But I'm sure as those details come out and we eventually get a trailer, I think you might adjust that. Completely agree about Avatar. It's pretty much like 2 things locked. It's going to get over 1.5 billion and best picture best visual effects Oscar. It's 2 guarantees. 100%
the things
sure.
you can bet on. Yeah.
What was the second one you had? That was Minecraft. Yeah.
Minecraft.
Course.
Yeah.
Yes. Super Mario Bros. Can hit like almost 1.5 billion. Then 100% Minecraft's going to go all that way unless it's absolute trash. It's got Jason Momoa in it, so who knows? It could go either way. So yeah, but I think popularity alone would drive it, especially in the first 2 weekends, maybe 3 weekends, and then after that, I think it will probably drop significantly.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think Snow White, I think it might sneak not quite to 1 billion, but quite close, just based on the iconic character that is, regardless of the PR damage Ziegler's trying to do to not only herself, but this film. I think Snow White's too much of a popular character to do that. I mean, how Beauty and the Beast hit 1 billion, so why can't Snow White, which is like the first Disney princess? So, by 2025, I think the movie market will be stabilized back to how it was before COVID. I mean, I know we get into that territory now already, but we had those strikes, which we can count towards blaming COVID or chunking in that COVID sort of region. But strikes preventing anything, I think, it's not to get up there.
What about Michael? Where do you see that landing? No chance?
Nah. What do you mean, no chance? No chance? Because you had it
to
1%.
top box office. Yeah, it's a 1%er.
Oh, no. Fuck no. No chance of being the box office king. I mean, Michael Jackson is king of a lot of things, but he ain't going to be king of box office, that's for sure. But, yeah, it really depends, because Michael Jackson is definitely one of the biggest pop stars of all time, if not the biggest. He's definitely an icon for both the right and wrong reasons as well. So I think people of old, young, and new will definitely go flock to the cinemas to see the story. It just really comes down to the basics of plot and acting. There's the two things.
Yeah.
If it nails plot and if it nails acting, then it could potentially hit $1 billion. Potentially, I'm not saying it will, but potentially.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, who knows? I mean, he's got so many iconic songs that I'm sure a lot of people just flock to the cinemas to hear or see or how they're renditioned in a movie format. So it definitely has a chance to do well, but it also has a chance to flop like a fish.
Yeah. Well, Superman Legacy, I think it's very fit at 5%. I don't think it needs to be any higher than that. And I'm only saying that is because the Batman got really, really good marketing, and the movie was even better than the marketing, and it still only made 700 and something million, 730. Granted, COVID times, so it really depends on how the DC reputation is really holding up. I don't see James Gunn breaking that completely. I think its ceiling is around 900 million. I don't think a billion film is here, and I think I know Avatar's going to get to $1 billion, but some of these other movies have $1 billion potential. But, you know, maybe when that first trailer comes out, we see a little bit of a bigger slice for him. You never know. You never know.
I have a question for you. You
All
said
right.
that you're the first person to say that Avatar 2 is going to hit 2 billion. Right now, is Avatar 3 going to hit 2 billion?
No.
No. Okay.
But it's going to come damn near close. It's going to give Spider-Man No Way Home a run for its money in terms of its total gross.
And is that because between the time between Avatar 1 and 2 was, 9 years? A bit more? Is it because it's such a short gap, so the technology is not going to be as advanced, as good, as must go see to the cinema?
Yeah, exactly. And it's not like a franchise that people are just dying or flocking to the cinemas to go see. It's not that kind of story. Its release date is very beneficial for it. But yeah, it just doesn't have that long break, that big, technological game changer in its arsenal this time. But this is still going to be the best we've seen, just not as big of a jump. So people are still going to go see it. It's still releasing in a very great window. It's just going to go on a little bit of a. It's just going to trend downwards, I think, until its final one. Perhaps the final one can break it, but yeah, I don't see this franchise being a $2 billion franchise for every single movie up to the 5th one. I just don't see that as a possible reality. But yeah, it's going to be a very great year for the box office. It's going to be a very great year for us movie fans. I know me and you are incredibly excited for 2025. If we had a button, we wish that we could just skip this year and we could go straight to next year. I know you and I both feel that.
Maybe after May, when Furiosa comes out, we can hit that button. But
yeah, and after Deadpool and Wolverine, don't forget, lad.
Oh yes, that's May as well, isn't it? No, we got
That's
delayed.
July. Yeah,
Got delayed. I forgot about
to
that.
July. But then the last half of the year is just full. It's just a desert at this point. Shout out to
Yeah,
Furiosa.
hey, I did say that 2024 was the year of the desert, so.
But that's in a bad way.